Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's good to be back with you. It's J. Scott Roberson, your crazy uncle. And before I get into today's subject, I just got a couple of things I want to share with you all. First of all, I know it's been a while. A few months back, I made a video talking about I was going to make a video about my top 5 albums of 2017. And here we are on the cusp of August 2018, and I haven't made a video since. And I apologize for that. For those of you that stuck it out, hey, once again, thank you all big. Appreciate your support. Second thing I want to talk about is one of the architects of my return, my resurrection, so to speak. It's a gentleman who has a YouTube channel, Weaponized Nerd Rage. Guy is busy making consistent, great, awesome content on movies, comic books, video games, gun rights. Please, if you get a chance, check out his channel. I will leave a link in the description. Once again, Weaponized Nerd Rage. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Now, let's go ahead and get into today's subject. I wanted to make this video a couple of days back, and let me go ahead and pardon you, everybody. That is my cat. That's right, Bast, aka MC Fuzzy Sweets, America's favorite feline gangster rapper, because she's very vocal. So you might have to pardon her for a little while. I do apologize. I just really do not feel like editing her out. I've been trying to do this video all morning, and she just wants her lovin's. Alright, enough of that. Let's go ahead and talk about James Gunn. Now, originally I wanted to make this video a couple days ago, and I'm glad I didn't, because I would have eaten crow. I would have looked really stupid. But I'm not going to talk about Mr. Gunn right now. We'll get back to him later. After that, I wanted to make a video about Hollywood, and this is another video I've been wanting to make for a very long time, actually for the past couple of months. But it just seems like the stupid keeps getting piled on, and it's just gotten very hard. But I'm not going to talk about that right now either. I'm going to talk about GWAR, my favorite heavy metal band, and one of my favorite movies of all time, Takeshi Miike's Ichi the Killer. Now, when I talked about making the video when I originally wanted to, you know, I live by the old adage, people in glass houses should not throw stones. Now, am I comparing GWAR and Ichi the Killer to what that crazy fucked up shit James Gunn said on Twitter? No, I'm not. But at the same time, they're both kind of very violent, transgressive, really weird. I don't think it's, it's definitely not, family friendly. Let me go ahead and talk about Ichi the Killer. I love this movie. It is honestly one of my favorite movies, and I got turned on to it because I'd read a couple articles. Well, one day, got in a fight with this gal, kind of really pissed off, broke up a couple days later. I know, maybe a little too much TMI. Well, went to go see my buddy Elvin. He worked at the local Barnes & Noble, and he was a purveyor of all the weird Japanese and Asian movies I was watching at the time. And I went in, I was like, I'm upset, and I want to watch some people die. A lot of them, hopefully painful. And he said, here you go, man. He handed it to me, Ichi the Killer. He said, this'll scratch that itch. I went home, called my best friend. He came over, we watched it. And after it was over, he said something to the effect of, I think we're going to hell for watching that. It's pretty fucked up, folks. Let's be honest. It starts off with a girl getting beaten and raped, and the title comes out of Ichi, the quote-unquote hero, spooge. And it's all downhill from there. But it's an awesome movie, and to be honest, I'm probably going to make a video about it at some time. I'd really like to, just kind of talk about the nuance, because it is something else, let me tell you. But it's fucked up. It's crazy. So how can I sit there and talk about somebody's Twitter when I like crazy shit also? That brings me to GWAR, my favorite heavy metal band. I fucking love GWAR. Granted, it's a bunch of guys that played a lot of D&D, then took every stereotype about heavy metal and blew it the fuck out of proportion and turned it into an amazing stage show. I love this band. To this day, I'm still sad their original lead singer, Odorous Urungus, Dave Brocky. We'll see you in Valhalla one day, brother. But they're a great band, but they have a couple songs. Hell, they have a song called Baby Raper. It's not one of my favorite GWAR songs. It's kind of got a nice little part at the end, but it's still really fucked up. Or Have You Seen Me off of one of my favorite GWAR albums, America Must Be Destroyed, which it's about child molestation. They're not really comfortable songs, but it's GWAR. It's not meant to be taken seriously. Look at them. I mean, Jesus Christ. So, once again, People in glass houses should not throw stones. That brings me back to, ladies and gentlemen, James Gunn. Look, I was excited when he was announced to be the director of Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm saying a year and a half before the movie came out, it's going to be one of the best Marvel movies ever. And it's one of the few movies in history that I built up to such heights. And guess what? I was fucking blown away. It was everything I wanted to be and more. Now, for the record, I know this is not going to be a popular opinion. I didn't like Guardians 2. It was too long. The editing was for shit. And real quick spoiler alert, I didn't like Ego, Kurt Russell's heel turn. They didn't have to go that far. They could have just kept him evil without him killing Peter's mom. I did not like that, you know. But still, I like James Gunn. But the one thing that started to piss me off is how he comes out and starts attacking fans because they don't agree with it. Look, ladies and gentlemen, we all know every group has their assholes. They have those fuckers that always spoil the party for everybody else. But at the same time, that's not indicative of everybody else. Although that's what Hollywood wants you to believe. Oh, you don't agree with me? Well, you must be the latest ism that BuzzFeed's got on their front page this week. So yeah, I don't like this whole thing where Hollywood seems to be wanting to divide the fan base. You know, entertainment's supposed to bring us together. So yeah, I hate to say it, I was at first very, very pleased with what happened with James Gunn. But then I started to think about it. Because I do believe context is very important. And look, I'm going to play devil's advocate. I am not justifying anything. Nothing whatsoever. But I want to play devil's advocate and talk about, first of all, he came from trauma. I like some fucked up shit, but trauma's a little too fucked up for me. But I know their brand of humor, and I'm not, once again, GWAR, each the killer, how can I fault them? But that's what he comes from. Then, once again, I was listening to one of Weaponized Nerd Rage's streams a few days back, and I called him a low-rent Seth MacFarlane. Because, hey, let's face it, Seth MacFarlane was calling out Hollywood's pedophile problem a long time ago. I remember that scene from Family Guy where Stewie's running through like a store or something screaming, "Help!" Oh, and he's naked. Stewie's naked. "Help! I just escaped from Kevin Spacey's basement." And look at us now. You know, maybe he was in some really weird edgelord way trying to point out Hollywood's pedophilia. Just doing a really, really shitty job of it. Now, I know there's a lot of tweets, and I'm not trying to justify it. But, you know, just taking him at face value as it is and not really looking into it, he does look bad. And it does. You know, do I think he deserves to get fired, though? I'll get to that in a moment. But once again, I want to bring something else. And this kind of made me really reconsider how I felt about James Gunn. And this was from an interview someone posted. I don't know where, but it's an interview with him, and it was before this shit came out. But he actually addresses this right here. "I protect myself by writing scenes where people shoot people in the face," Gunn said, chuckling. "And if I have to think around shooting someone in the face, it's harder, but I think it's more rewarding for me." He cleared his throat. "I felt like Guardians forced me into a much deeper way of thinking about, you know, my relationship to people, I suppose. I was a very nasty guy on Twitter. It was a lot of fucking edgy, in-your-face, dirty stuff. I suddenly was working for Marvel and Disney, and that didn't seem like something I could do anymore. I thought that would be a hindrance on my life. But the truth was, it was a big, huge opening for me. I realized a lot of that stuff in a way that I pushed people away." It's not really worded well. It's really hard for me to read. I do apologize. "When I was forced into being this." He moved his hand over his chest. "I felt more fully myself." "And what is this?" said Faith No More. "It's it." "Sensitive, I guess." He said, "Positive. I mean, I really do love people. By not having jokes to make about whatever was that offensive topic of the week. That forced me into just being who I really was, which was a pretty positive person. It felt like such relief." I mean, he addressed it right there. Now, again, do I say, did he deserve to be fired? Well, that brings me, of course, to Hollywood. Now, one thing I've noticed about this whole, James Gunn kerfuffle, and actually, floating around a lot of these other people. I mean, it could be James Gunn, it could be Michael Ian Black, or whatever the fuck that asshole's name is. It could be Dan Harmon, who I have a special distaste towards, even though I fucking loved Community. Any one of those could be interchanged for James Gunn, but I just want to talk about James Gunn. And my thing that was missed is Disney saw these. Obviously, this had to come up. Did no one sit there and just pat him on the back and say, "Hey, dude, you might want to erase those right now. That shit could come back to haunt you." Yeah, people could probably go back and look it up. But if you're not going to be that person when you try to scrub any proof of that person away, I mean, at least he did own it. James Gunn did kind of bow out gracefully. And yes, part of me is, there's a very smug satisfaction because, he wanted to get all high and mighty and holy on fans for not liking a particular product. A lot of them having actual valid criticism. And it had nothing to do with diversity or trying to be inclusive. We don't give a fuck. Give us good characters. Then we'll be happy. You're not giving us characters, you're giving us labels. I digress. I apologize. But Hollywood has just made it a career of attacking anyone that doesn't agree with the liberal agenda or those with conservative views that work inside Hollywood. Tim Allen, Roseanne Barr. I mean, if you're also quick to rush and defend James Gunn, pedophilia's fucking awful, racism's awful. Why aren't these same people going and running and defending Roseanne, even though what she said was very fucking stupid? And I wish to God she would just owned it, not blamed it on fucking Ambien. That was a bitch move. But Hollywood has just become a flaming dumpster fire where it's really become hard for me to watch anything they do. But again, I'm stunned that nobody at Disney told him to erase them. How he did not know this would come to bite him in the ass, considering he's working for Disney. Their product is to kids. Yeah, a lot of people adults love fucking Star Wars or the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But those movies, at the end of the day, are geared towards children. And here you have a director, you're bringing in movies that are geared towards children, and he is joking about raping children. To me, that's the biggest question that we should be asking. I think firing James Gunn for his tweets opens a very dangerous precedent. It does. For all of us. It's why I stand by freedom of speech for everybody. Let the bad ideas wilt in the sun of logic and reason, of better ideas. But instead, Hollywood, and even to an extent the NFL, it's not about bringing people together anymore. It's about dividing us. So, did James Gunn deserve to be fired? Yes, because Disney's kid-friendly. They shouldn't have hired him in the first place, honestly. That was kind of dumb. Hate to say it, but yeah. We wouldn't have had Guardians, which I loved, but once again, this is just another flaming turd thrown on the dumpster fire that is Hollywood. And right now, I am tired of people being beholden to these assholes that make money, more money than most of us will see in our lifetime, for one single film, telling us how to live our lives or to give up our guns when they can go run behind their gated and walled communities with their armed guards. And some of you are stupid enough to fucking listen to them. God damn, it's good to be back. Once again, check out my man, Weaponized Nerd Rage. His channel will be in the description. Thank you for all of you for your support that have stuck with me for all this time. I hope I didn't babble for too long. J. Scott Roberson, your crazy uncle. It's good to be back, man. And you just keep it weird, y'all. Take care. Thank you, Big Big.